Hi guys, this is Jackie Cooper, and today I have someone who's very distinguished here. Dr. Lauren Souza has quite a diverse career in a lot of different areas. Every time I talk with him, I learn something new. And we are actually on my podcast called Cooper Virtual Career Day podcast. And this might also play over on the Jcoopertravels. So as you guys might know, if you're listening to podcasts, there is a little block of information above the podcast, above the YouTube. So that way you can have access to contact information and other ways to kind of learn about different career paths and opportunities. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really appreciate your coming on. I know how busy you are, but I also know how much you give back to the community. So I really appreciate that. Tell me, for the listeners that have not heard your story that was on Jcoopertravels, and I will also put the podcast number on there so people can kind of go back and check it out. How did you get started? What's your area of interest? You've had a really interesting, diverse path and done some remarkable things, still doing remarkable things. So I'm going to stop talking so you can kind of share.
Okay. Well, I started, as a kid in my family's restaurant business, and then went to go work for a friend of mine's family in the parking lot business. So that kind of gave me the means to be able to put myself through college. And I became to love political science and philosophy, although my father wouldn't send me to college to learn that. He would only support me, even though he didn't end up supporting me. He pushed me towards business and finance and real estate. And I ended up going on and getting my first job as the director of research for a real estate company up here in Marin, running the research department. And I basically ran a career of building and running research departments for real estate brokerage houses, mostly commercial, onto pension fund advisors, to large investment management companies like Charles Schwab. I built a research department at some point for them. But during that whole time period, in the first 20 years of my career, I started teaching when I was 32 at San Francisco State because I wanted to teach finance and real estate and economics, because my finance and econ professors at San Francisco State were so amazing. They inspired me, and I stuck with it. And I've been doing that for over 22 years, along with working full time. And I also, in my path, because I realized that, a degree from San Francisco State or multiple associate degrees from City College is not going to really allow you to compete, at a very high level on Wall Street, and particularly in institutional real estate. So I figured for what I would need to do is to create something unique. So I developed a series, of knowledge that I wanted to achieve, which started out with accounting, which I got my bachelor's degree in that. And then it led into economics, and I got an undergrad in that and a master's. And then that led into finance, and I got a master's, degree in that, and a doctorate with a concentration in finance. And then I realized that policy and politics and public administrative governmental institutions had such a huge impact on the economy and demographics and industry, that I started to get master's degrees in public administration and political science. One, because in spite of my dad, because he told me I, could never do that. So I knew I wanted to do it. But that ended up leading to opportunities in labor policy. I've become an expert in housing policy and housing economics. I've taught housing policy and economics. And then over the years, I ended up finishing my master's in information systems because I was very fascinated with technology and felt I needed a credential because I was developing processes and products in these institutions with the technology groups. And I felt I needed to have that credential and the ability to communicate at their level to create just efficient communication with them. And then that combination really led to opportunities in consulting, to pension fund advisors and brokerage firms and brokers and pension funds. And then I wanted to go and learn about the financial services industry a little bit more, and got all my licenses and became an investment advisor and a real estate broker and an insurance agent to kind of cut my teeth on the sales side, which was very different than the cerebral, intellectual, institutional side. And then today I'm working for an insurance company, brokering insurance, a wealth advisor. I have a real estate brokerage arm where I'm working with another broker on very large apartment building transactions. I partnered with a technology company in property technology. We finished our first product probably 2 months ago. It took us a year to build it. And that led to other products that we are now able to build for other financial services firms which are really exciting. And then my background in economics and research and real estate and capital markets and policy made me attractive to a couple other startup companies that wanted me to come and work with their chief technology officers and developing predictive analytics and the single family residential real estate markets. And then another startup company approached me 10 years ago to design strategy for them, which they came back 4 years ago, made me the vice president of research and analytics, and I'm heading up their real estate capital markets, fundraising efforts, and their real estate portfolio initiative, which is extremely exciting because two of the products from my tech company will monetize probably in the next 12 months. This technology, this startup company I'm working with will probably monetize within the next 3 months after 10 years and 4.5 years of incubating. And those have led into other opportunities that people have come to me either through the academic realm, either they were my students at some point in time that have come back to get me, or it's led from relationships that I've built through scholarship foundations or other institutions. It all comes back around. So you never really know where the opportunities are going to come from. You just know that, you do the things that you're interested in, you do the things that you can do, you push your limits, you try to be the best person that you can with the highest ethics and morality, and you do the best you can. And if you really focus on your true self and your true being, then I think I've always believed that if I do a good job and I'm a good person overall, that success will come to me, and especially if I work hard and really focus on relationships, and ethics and morality. Oh, you're on mute, Jackie.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if my dog was going to bark, so I thought not to have it there. So guys, I totally agree with what was just shared. I know that if you're listening to this, you're thinking, well, how do I even get started? And just like what was shared, find some sense of where you think your passion is. You might start in one point and you might end up in another point. And also what was discussed that I heard is all about relationships, because those that you might meet today, you might not be working with today, but you might work with down the road in 5 to 10 years. So no matter where you start, you might end up in that area. And other people might change too, and they might remember you and they say, oh, I need to call him or her. So, it's all about thinking about, being open to new situations, being open to listening to yourself as to where you are and where you want to be. I mean, Dr. Souza has had a remarkable career, but if you listen to what he just shared, he's gone into a lot of different areas, from real estate to insurance to technology, you know, to education, to so many different things. And yet he's been able to weave it into different things that he cares about. And in the long run, you know, that's where you're going to be the happiest, is finding your passion. Any last minute things that you want to share? Because you really kind of dropped the mic in terms of a lot of wisdom here.
As you were talking, I would say that the thing that I think creates happiness is to be able to do what makes you happy with the people that you love. And do what you love with the people that you love, and it's not going to be work, and you'll accomplish some amazing things doing it, and you'll be happy in the process.
Yep. And the one last thing before we leave, you always have choices. You might not always think that you have choices, but you always have choices. So you can stay in something for a short term, and then you can choose to leave it. No one is ever tethered or tied to one situation. There's always ways to earn a dollar. It might not be your first choice, but it might be the next step in wherever you're going that makes you the happiest on your path. So thank you, Dr. Souza. I appreciate your time.
You're
and I know
welcome.
I'll be
Always.
talking with you soon. Okay.
Always, Jackie. Thank you. Take care.